Hello, my name's Malcolm Taylor. I'm here to talk to you about weed control in water-seeded rice. In water-seeded rice, you maintain the field anaerobic condition from day one, and that tends to favour aquatic weeds, as you might see down here in front of me, with weeds such as arrowhead, starfruit and dirty dora. But equally, the grass weeds can dominate if the water is of shallow depth. So typically you'll see grass weeds dominating on the high sides of bays and the aquatic weeds on the deeper sides of fields. So this plot behind me was treated with the industry standard of 20 years ago, which is Ordram for grasses and Londax for broadleafs and sedge weeds. And in its day it was a marvellous treatment. Single application could do all weeds in one treatment. Those days have gone because, as you can see, this plot is riddled with weeds, and particularly dirty dora and some of the broadleafs that have developed resistance to Londax, and that's widespread throughout the industry. So those days of single treatment are over. It's no longer reliable, and we've come up with better ways to do it, which I'll show you now. The plot behind me, as you can see, is largely free of weed competition. It was treated with a combination of Ordram and Taipan, two different modes of action, the Ordram for grass weeds and the Taipan for broadleafs and sedges. That's now really the industry standard for water-seeded rice, and you can see it's given an excellent result. There's very few weeds that will come through that treatment, but in doing so we must be mindful that where you have something successful, you should be looking to do something different to prevent the selection for resistance. Fortunately, after many years of research, we now have alternatives to Taipan, as I'll go on to show you next. Okay, the plot behind me is a combination at two timings, Ordram at sowing, followed by Eubenic, which is a group O herbicide as an alternative to Taipan, applied at two-leaf stage of rice. And as you can see, it's given the full spectrum of weed control and gives us a rotational option away from Taipan for the sedges and broadleaf weeds. One of the critical aspects of rice weed control management programs is we want to overlay alternate modes of action on the same weeds. In a sense, you could say killing the weed twice. Well, you don't kill a weed twice, but if you've got two different modes of action targeting that same weed, if it survives one, it won't survive the other. So that is a basis for herbicide resistance management. And in this particular plot, we've used Ordram Taipan at sowing, followed by a Saturn Eubenic mixture at the two-leaf stage. So you've got multiple modes of action on every weed there. It becomes an expensive treatment, but it gives you a highly effective treatment, and you're not selecting for resistance in any one species to any one herbicide. So in summary, with water-seeded rice, there are critical timings to intervene to get control of the broad spectrum of weeds that we expect in these fields. Those critical timings are at sowing. It's also a time when you need to deliver some control for rice bloodworm. So that's why we will normally pass over the field to deliver herbicides and bloodworm insecticides at the same time at that sowing opportunity. It also means that the weeds are very small. If not, perhaps they haven't even germinated at that stage. So there's a timing there, critical timing there. Equally, at the two-leaf stage, you can then start to use some of the other herbicide treatments, such as Eubenic at three-leaf stage, or Saturn or Londax at that two-leaf stage. So there are treatments suitable for at sowing, and there are treatments suitable for the two-leaf stage. We merge those into programs to deliver give a concurrent delivery of multiple modes of action. And as you can see, we're able to deliver highly productive rice crops in the process.